Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Open Line, talking about the wealth gap, especially the racial wealth gap when it comes to home ownership in this hot housing market. We have with us Tequila Johnson. She is co-founder and vice president of the Equity Alliance. Also, news of the day, we've gotten some calls on the redistricting proposals that were just released today by the Republican-led legislature. And so all of it's kind of on the table for discussion. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Joy. Hello, Joy.
Hello.
Go right ahead.
It is my opinion that it is going on with both Democrats and Republicans in many states. They're both equal offenders. That's my point.
When it comes to gerrymandering, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Writing these congressional districts?
Republicans has lost, will probably lose lots of seats in certain areas of the country. And both parties do this, both parties. So maybe some other discussion needs to happen.
Right, about for both parties. Okay, Joy, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you again, Joy. So Cameron Sexton, who is going to be on Inside Politics later this week, he did say he's the Republican Speaker of the House. He said in California they're doing the same thing. They are Democrats are redistricting out or gerrymandering out Republicans in Republican areas in California, and so that's kind of, I guess, kind of the argument. Well, they're doing it over there, so we're going to do it over here, and you know, so that's kind of where we are. You're in this political world. What do you think, Tequila, when you hear that?
One, I think Tennessee, a right-to-work state, a state where marijuana is still not legal, can't, in no discussion, compare itself to California. A California Republican is probably a Tennessee moderate Democrat. So, I mean, while I understand that this is a tactic that is used in politics, which is what I think Cameron Sexton was referring to, we still have to call it what it is. It is gerrymandering in Tennessee. We are breaking up the urban core. We are splitting the urban core into 3 districts. And so in Tennessee, where you have in Nashville in particular, where you have a 28% Black population being split up in 3, where there's no more than 15% per district, says more than this is just a political tactic. This is a Jim Crow tactic as well.
All right, let's go to Robert here. Hello, Robert.
Yes.
Go right ahead.
I think talking about Nashville, Davidson County homeownership, I believe the tax rate is so high up there, it's forcing many people to leave up there. And I don't think it's about race. I think some people have better retirements, some people make more money, and some people are better educated. So I think it falls in that category when you start comparing wealth between races. I mean, I don't make near the money a pro basketball player makes. And I think that should be looked at seriously. But the tax rate of Davidson County is outrageous compared with the surrounding counties of Tennessee. We have a low rate. I live in Lewis County. Very low taxes down here. So I think that should be looked at. But I was born in Nashville.
Okay.
But I wouldn't live up there now because of the traffic problems and the tax rate and the crime. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. Okay, so back to what we were talking about as far as home ownership, the disparity there. And he brings up the point that, yeah, property taxes play into one reason people may say, I'm just going to sell. I'm getting this phone call from somebody that's offering me cash for my house. I'm going to sell. What role do property taxes play in that? And what are you trying to educate homeowners to do about that?
Yeah, I mean, while what he said was, you know, he had a point, it's still not a factual point, because rapid gentrification was happening before Nashville raised property taxes. In fact, that's part of the reason why Nashville had to raise property taxes, because there was a huge increase in influx in people moving to the city, congestion in the streets, more people sending their kids to schools. And while, you know, the city or the state has been investing in development and investing in bringing big companies here, we have not been investing in the things that help maintain the quality of life of Nashvillians, i.e. education, making sure that we're taking care of our service workers, making sure that we are taking care of our bus drivers and our paraprofessionals. So property taxes had to be raised in order to provide a decent, I can't even say quality education, because again, there are kids who don't even have buses right now, but a decent enough education to support the growth that Nashville has experienced over the last few years. So while he makes a point, you have to really consider when taxes were raised. It's just been a couple years, and we're still considering the growth and the number of investment and development that we have in the city. Our taxes still aren't comparable to other cities of our size. So you can't compare Nashville to a Louisville, because while Louisville may have low taxes, you also don't have a lot of the amenities that we have here in Nashville. And those things cost. We have to pay for that.
All right, so maybe it's not as high as other cities and that kind of thing, but do property taxes play into people selling their homes and just saying, I can't pay it anymore? I mean, is that something, and are you trying to educate people, you know, maybe take equity out of your house or do something to not have to sell your house? Do you know what I mean? What role do property taxes play, if any, and are you educating people, hey, you know, there are things you can do here?
For someone who lives in an area like, let's say, North Nashville, and you owned your home for 15 years, for me, my property taxes only increased by a few $100s. So it was not enough to make or break whether or not I was wanting to sell my home. Now, I'm not saying that is the case for everyone, because everyone's financial position is different, but I'm saying that the property tax increase did not increase gentrification. Like, it was already happening prior to raising the property taxes. The property taxes were a result of rapid gentrification. So that's what I'm really trying to educate people on. And sure, there may be people who are just like, I have a limited retirement. I would rather live I don't have any kids, so I'm not really looking to invest in property taxes, which will invest in education, which will invest in transportation, all of those things. I want to live a simple life, so I'm going to pack my stuff up and I'm going to move to Lewisburg and I'm going to cash out. That is their prerogative. I'm just simply saying, if that is what you're looking to do, then really explore your options. I'm not saying that you shouldn't sell. I would prefer you not to sell for my own personal reasons, but I can't make that decision for everybody because I don't know everybody's financial position. But when you cannot lump increase in property tax and gentrification in Nashville together, because one, the increase in gentrification and people moving here is what caused us to need to increase property taxes to pay for some of the amenities. Very interesting. Okay, and what about the increase in housing prices and gentrification? What about, I guess, you know, what has been causing, it's the people moving here, this gentrification. Housing prices are going up. That would seem like a good thing. But at the same time, black home ownership is going down. And so why do you think that is? And you talked a little bit about what needs to be done about it. But again, how are you trying to tell people we need to stop that? Yeah, I think it all starts with policy. When you think about the people who are coming to Nashville that are getting those higher paying jobs, the majority of them aren't black or brown. So it's an education thing. It is a continuous cycle. We're not, educating our urban core the way that we need to be. So students aren't aware of the technology jobs that exist. Students aren't going after the high paying jobs, and it's just becoming a cycle. Therefore, they aren't able to live where they work. A lot of black people in Nashville work for Metro government, which is ironic, and they aren't able to afford to live here. A lot of black people are teachers, and they aren't able to afford to live here. So when you have an industry like technology, which is a white male-dominated industry, move into a city like Nashville and consume the urban core, you have to understand that the people who live here that aren't privy of or aren't a part of the new working environment that Nashville is creating or that we're investing in, like technology, you are pushing those people out. These are our bus drivers. These are our frontline workers, our teachers, our nurses, our healthcare workers, people who work for the city, people who work in the schools, in the cafeteria. They can't afford to live here. It's not, people who are graduating and going into technology. Of course, there are Black people who are able to afford here, but the majority of Black people who have made Nashville such an attractive city can no longer afford to live in Nashville, and that is a problem. We need to make sure that we are, one, taking care of our people who live here and not taking advantage of them. And when we are bringing companies to Nashville that are going to bring their people here, that we have agreements in place with them prior to them coming here that protect the economic development of the urban core.
Is there an agreement?
And that's just something that has.
Is there an agreement like that you think has been done well, or you haven't seen that yet? We have seen a lot of businesses move here. Is there something that's been done right in your opinion, or it hadn't happened yet?
No, I serve on the Industrial Development Board, and I can tell you we don't even have a set of policies that govern how we give away free money and hold businesses accountable. The Economic Development Director, Courtney Pogue, put out a op-ed a couple months ago about wanting to develop an economic development plan for the city. We don't even have an economic development plan that was developed by the city. So we don't even have a plan for how we protect our urban core over a period of time or what that will look like. So there are a lot of things that are happening. I don't think it's all at the fault of the people that are moving here. I think it is a top-down thing that's happening, and they are just a part of it because they're moving here. But we have to hold our mayors, our city council members accountable and make sure that they are putting things in place that protect the residents here when they're bringing these businesses here, and that we're just not giving away all of our taxpayer dollars and not getting something in return for the people who live here now.
All right, we have to take a break. Taylor is on the line. Hold on, Taylor. Others, if you want to call in, there's the number 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. We'll take a break. Be back right after this.